Hello and welcome to episode 105 of JagaVision. We were just doing some calculations and it looks like we're definitely in that 2 year mark or well past it. So, pretty stoked to have brought you a whole bunch of episodes. We often have guests on from the industry or in areas that I'm personally interested in. We drink tea, we talk about what's going on, and for those of you who are watching for the first time, my name's Nyberg. I'm co-owner of JagaSilk. You can check out our project online at JagaSilk.com. JagaVision is a collection of conversations and tea making. And if you're interested in the topics, if you're interested in the teas, I encourage you to go back in time and go through our archives and watch some episodes. For today, we're going to have our often joining us, almost honorary co-host, Sister Speak, Sherri Anne of Sister Speak. She's going to join, and we sponsor Sister Speak Music and their tour around the world. It's ever going, and we sent her teas, and she's been really great about sharing the tea with her fan base, and we sent her a gaiwan and a tea stage the other day, and so we're going to go through that a little bit today, how to use that. We're going to enjoy a Koucha Zairaishu. This is a really nice selection from the folks over in Mandokoro. In 2019, we had the great fortune of going and visiting the owners there, the Kawakamis, and we were able to hand pick some teas with them. Had a really great time. We were able to be a part of the process of manufacturing them into crimson teas. It was just really informative. It stayed with us as a really special experience. And so in 2021, of course, we had to, actually every year since, we've been buying a small amount of the teas. They only produce 18 kilos. It takes them a week to produce 18 kilos. And to put that in perspective, we in an afternoon with using machines to harvest and machines to process, you can get yourself 50, if not 100, if not 200 kilograms of finished product. So they spend an entire week hand picking and hand processing, and at the end of the day, they're left with about 18 kilos. So we're really blessed that we get to have a portion of their harvest, and we get to share that with you watching. So Koucha Zairaishu by Kawakami should be coming out pretty soon on our webpage. So today, though, while we're waiting for Sister Speak to join us, I thought I could make up some tea. We actually had an interesting thing happen where there was I was doing a cupping with my team, and we all decided on some. There was some teas that we liked from this farm in Yunnan, and I was kind of convinced myself that there was a good chance I was going to bring in this particular tea from Yunnan. But at the end of the day, my wife and business partner, she liked one that I had kind of written off as uninteresting, and in my opinion, she has a better palate than I do. So I'm going to go and revisit some tea. So normally I like to drink a tea that I've never had before, but what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go and drink a couple teas. One that I was convinced we should be getting for our next round from this wonderful farm, and I'm going to compare it with the selection that my wife liked, and I'm just going to try and understand it a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is let you see my tea prep area there. I have some 80-degree water. I'm going to weigh out some leaves. So this one is the one that she really liked is called Jade Snail. It's rolled into balls. You often see oolongs processed this way. I'm gonna put in a good 6 grams, I think, tea, and I think you can. This might even be better. Let's see that right up close. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, instead of using a gaiwan, which I plan on using later with Sherri Anne, I'm going to brew it in one of these 180 milliliter glass teapots. I do like using glass to cup teas just because, glazed ceramics, glass, so I could totally use a gaiwan, aren't going to have anything porous. They're not going to, either have flavors imbued in them from a previous session, nor are they going to have, they're not going to impact the water, like charge it in any way. We see clay teapots have a really awesome effect of reducing acidity. But I want to taste everything this tea has going on because it's going to be in our wholesale line, so I really want to make sure that we taste it, flaws and all. And once we find that, say, it's too bitter or it's got a little bit too much acid, we might put it in a different teapot so that we can pull out more punch in terms of flavor without extracting these more acidic compounds that are a little less interesting. So I made this a few times now. I made it 2 minutes. I made it 2.5 minutes. Today I'm gonna try making it at for 3 minutes. I'm gonna use 80 degrees centigrade water. I found that some teas are a little bit more, a little bit more forgiving when it comes to longer brew times than others. This particular tea seems to really like a longer brew time. So although I've tried this tea and it was sort of not super interesting for me, the reason why I wasn't super into it is I felt that it was lacking in flavor punch. There was just something missing there. So anyway, I'm going to compare that next to a tea that this farmer's called a Snow Dragon. And that's a pretty cool name. This is definitely the tea that caught my attention. I have to go back in time and see which brew setting I really like, but if I recall, we were doing 6 grams. So one of the things that's really useful here at JagaSilk is that we always keep a record of the tea and the cuppings that we do, and that lets us stay on top of oh, I think we're joined by Sister Speak. Amazing. Okay. Hello. How you doing?
Hi, I went to the park and I realized they don't have any Wi-Fi. So
Oh no. Okay. So we were.
I had everything packed, ready to go, but I brought it. Now it's ready anyway. I have this.
Sure. Yeah, that's cool. All right. Well, I was just telling the viewers that we were drinking a green tea the other day when it was a 2022 harvest, and I had sort of one of the selections. I sort of wrote it off. I was like, oh, you know what, this isn't very interesting, and I'm not going to buy it. But then Mew had it, and she really liked it, and I think she has a better palate than I do, and I was like, okay, interesting. So I'm going back and I'm revisiting a tea that I wasn't super into. It's going to be done brewing in 15 seconds, and then we could go into using your gaiwan there and make up some of that Koucha Zairaishu that I was telling you about.
Okay, cool.
But how you doing?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. I'm
Been keeping busy. Hey, I think you got some. You want to tell the people watching about your tour that's coming up pretty soon here?
Yeah, it's an intense one.
What are we up to? Where are we going?
Well, first show is actually in Chicago next week. 2 weeks. In 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then Connecticut the next weekend, and then to Cologne, Germany for a week in July for a youth festival, and then end of July we really kick off the full tour with duo and band. Everything else is solo.
Right.
So so that's gonna be Vermont, Germany, and then all over DC, and also New York City.
Yeah, because
So,
you're coming to Victoria.
August 13th, so I'm super excited for that. Making it happen. First time ever we'll have the full band.
Yeah, I'm really stoked, and you'll be playing at JagaSilk. So yeah, no, that'll be
Yes.
that'll be
August
good.
13th.
I'm actually really excited. I think that in terms of in life, there's times when you're just doing a lot, and there's times when you're kind of feel like things are really chill. I'm sort of at, I think, I'm not like at like a place where I'm like ready to burn out or anything, but I'm definitely at full capacity for who I am as a human at this time in my life. I'm just like, we had a situation with matcha. I ordered some tencha from Mr. Takaki. We bought the last of the 2021 harvest, and normally, to put it in perspective, it takes about 4 days, maybe 6 days for it to arrive, but it took like 3 weeks. And it's because there was like a staffing shortage. We used DHL, and they couldn't process it in Canada. So I was like watching it get to BC and then just kind of like stay there. And I was calling our rep, and it was like, and it was really, really intense. But
wow.
I just I brewed this tea a little too strong, but as soon as I diluted it, it's fantastic. So
that's like my best my claim to fame. I constantly brew too strong.
Yeah, that's really good. I might actually get both these teas. I'm pretty into the Snow Dragon.
Snow Dragon. That sounds like a game.
Like, look at these leaves. Aren't those
Oh,
gorgeous?
that's amazing. I love that name. I was gonna say that smells so good. You can almost smell the amazing aroma just looking at it.
Right? So, I don't know. I'm gonna brew this later. Wow, actually, do you mind if I quickly brew this just so that I finish this experiment?
Let me see if I can get something taller for my setup here.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, essentially, it's been it's been, I'm really happy, but it's been really intense, and I guess I'm my capacity is a little bit less than it used to be just because it's been so chill for so long. So I don't think I'm busier than I was, say, pre-pandemic, but I'm definitely But I think I can handle it a bit better too. Like, I don't like freak out. I'm just like, I'm almost like this like observer of it and going like, oh, things are spinning really quickly right now. That's interesting. You know, like.
I get like carsick from being on the computer so much. But.
Yeah, and there's so many things on my. I went back to analog, and I now have a schedule book that's like paper.
Me too, yeah.
And it's awesome. I'm just like, I'm feeling so good about it. I still do my calendar digital, like in terms of like meetings with other people, because I feel
same.
But like just stuff that I need to know for me that I'm really trying to get off of my personal list. That list, I was doing like a checklist on Google Docs, but I wasn't keeping it up to date, and I don't want to use my phone all the time, but by doing the checklist that way, I was like, I had to have it with me all the time. So anyway, I feel good about that. I feel like it's better now. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. We were trying to get computer set up with like a monitor and a wired keyboard and a wired mouse, and everything's Bluetooth. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'd like to wire Ethernet to the computer, and I just don't really want to have everything Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi data, like constantly, boom, 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 boom. By the end of the day, I'm like, the music player, everything, I'm just like, wow, there's so many signals running through me. By the end of the day, no wonder I feel parsick.
No way. I think that's probably like, we're exposed to so much of that. It's just going to be, it'll be interesting to know what that looks like in like a couple of years, like all this wireless technology, how it's impacting us, you know?
Well, I know for me, it makes me nauseous, so I just, but I know I can handle like a pretty large amount, like in an apartment building, there's a lot of different signals.
Right.
But the hardest one for me is the cell phone data signal.
It gets really warm. I feel like I just get kind of foggy and all that. So, I've been doing, and I've been just trying to encapsulate these different tasks and understanding, how to move forward, etc. Another kind of cool thing for those watching is, I'm really stoked, and I was writing you about this. We're gonna do a collaborative project with Copper Spirit Distillery on Bowen Island, and we're gonna release a gin together that's gonna have tencha that I toasted in our tea roaster with some yuzu peel from Kaminoho in Gifu, Japan. So there'll be this really cool element to the gin, and then on the 23rd of July, my band Truth and Dolphin, we're gonna go and perform for the release of the gin, and yeah, tickets are gonna be $25. And I imagine we're mostly gonna have Bowen Island residents join, but
Cool.
yeah, it's gonna be at night, and then the next day we're gonna do a tea tasting. JagaSilk is so my band on Friday night with Steve Schmiller, basically my band. There's the two of us, and of course Sherri Anne when you're in town, and I have my offer open to my co-songwriter Corey Christensen. I always say, hey man, you should guest star.
Yeah.
So busy with family, but also in August I have the Moss Street Market. And then in September, on my birthday on the 10th, we're going to be performing at the Takea Wolf Festival. And then October 8th, we'll be doing.
Oh, really? On your birthday?
On my birthday, turning 40 on a full moon. And we'll have yeah, family's coming down. I don't know if you'll be able to make it or not in amongst your tour, but yeah, I'll be 40, and there's going to be a congregation of folks and.
What are you talking about? If I can make it, we're already planned.
Are we? Okay, that's amazing.
The whole week.
Right. What am I even saying? You already booked it, like before I even booked this show. You are already booked in town. You're like ahead of the game. You booked last year.
Yeah, we booked it like in March.
Right. Okay, so you're way ahead. You're so far ahead that it's like, yeah, it's that's beyond awesome. Okay, so yeah, that's happening. You should. Can you join for some songs? Can we play some songs together at the Wolf Festival?
Of course.
Yeah, can Sister Speak play too in support of the Wolf? Okay, sweet. So those watching, you get to come out to Takea on the 10th of September, and support a good cause, which is to kind of turn people's attention to this trophy hunting of wolves and to try and encourage legislation that makes that prohibited.
Yeah, yes. Very important.
You know what's funny? Today I prefer the tea that Mew prefers. Isn't that funny?
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. I'm going to dilute this one a little bit. Like I did the other one. See what happens.
I'm going to open this window. It's really hot in here. We got some pepper plants. You want to see the pepper plants?
Let's see the pepper plants.
Oh,
very cool. Awesome. Yeah, we've been growing some seedlings at home. So
yeah, cool. We didn't grow them from seed. We got them at the farm nearby.
It's really good. Yeah, Sea Bluff Farm in Machosen sells seeds, right? And you bought some, I think.
Yeah, we started a little late, so we realized we're only at the end of July, so everything that has like a 60-day
arugula. You got to do arugula. We've been also growing blue oyster mushrooms. Oh, very cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they sell mushroom kits, and so you can.
In your yard?
We've been growing it inside. You like give it a spritzer, and it kind of grows mushrums, and it's awesome. They taste so
cool.
good. Yeah. Okay. That's amazing. Lettuce, arugula. You know, if you do the arugula, you could even do sprouts. I wonder if you could take sprouts with you.
Yeah, sprout seeds.
Wouldn't that be funny if you brought your sprouts with you on the plane everywhere you went, and you're like, these are my sprouts, man.
These only take a week in soil. Radish.
Amazing. You could have like fresh greens on the go. Okay.
Well, that'll be funny to take it on the plane, and if it isn't soiled, it's not liquid. So.
Exactly.
So how was that one? What was the flavor notes?
I would say that it was a lot more umami in the second one. It was a little bit more delicate, whereas the first one that I had, which is Mew's favorite, is a little bit more roasty. So I think it does more what we need it to do in terms of a parched green, which is surprising to me. I guess people's palates change all the time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Okay, you got some water boiling?
Yes.
Okay. I just took another sip, and I love the aftertaste of the second one, so maybe I should get them both. Yeah.
We got this cup at the farmer's market.
Very nice. Very
That's
nice.
good. So I've got the whole kit here, and we're making it in the gaiwan.
We're making it in the gaiwan. So you're gonna essentially. So how the gaiwan works is there's a saucer that it sits on. I rarely use the saucer, and that's because Bitter Leaf Teas, who I bought this gaiwan from in Yunnan, they don't even sell them with the saucers, and been noticing more and more how many people just skip the saucer altogether.
Yeah.
But there are cultures and techniques for Chinese tea ceremony that involve like holding the saucer, and that it's like they even drink out of the gaiwan rather than decanting it first.
Okay.
And you also see folks that pour, and this is far more common, is they pour out of the gaiwan. I don't know if you've ever seen in Japanese tea making preparation, if you're doing a sencha, it's quite common to pour a little bit into each cup and then like divide it and then go back to the first cup. Don't like pour a cup the whole way because there's going to be varying strengths in the teapot. But I really, really am influenced and prefer the Taiwanese style, which is to decant first. So then you have an even extraction that you can then split between cups.
Ah.
If you're drinking solo, or if you're like if you're emptying the entire contents into one cup that you're then going to drink out of course, it doesn't matter at that point, right? You don't need the small cup. So my setup looks like this. I have my gaiwan, I have my decanter, and I have my cup.
I don't have a decanter. Should I get one?
Well, I think you might be in the position where you'd be drinking right out of the cup there, and I think there's enough. It has enough room that you're going to be able to brew in one and not have to worry about it being too much liquid for the cup. Does that make sense?
Yeah. How much tea are we putting in?
So okay, we're gonna throw it on a scale, and this is my method. So some people, actually a lot of people, I would say, okay, you're gonna brew your tea. You should preheat your gaiwan. I don't do that because I pour my hot water on the gaiwan and preheat it with the tea in it. I'm gonna put in mine 4 grams. I'd like you to put 5 grams in yours. My gaiwan is a lot smaller than yours.
Okay.
And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take boiling water, which you probably have.
Yeah, I just reboiled it.
Okay, and you're gonna just put enough water to douse the leaves.
Okay.
So I'm gonna bring it up. And what's kind of interesting is we're using a Chinese tea preparation system to make a Japanese tea. But I really think this tea shines this way. So,
how long do I put it in for, sorry?
Like, basically, you rinse it for about 3 seconds.
Oh, okay. Fill it up and rinse it?
Yeah.
And then pour it in the bottom of the tea thing?
So how you hold the gaiwan is, again, like, you're going to hold the top, you're going to push it back a little bit, you pull the ring, and then you're going to pour it out, like, one-handed like that.
Okay.
Or if I'm going to show it like that.
Oh, I'm pouring it out. I'm not eating the first one, drinking the first one?
You're not drinking the first one. It's called a rinse.
Yes,
so
the rinse.
Yeah, so that's the rinse. You just barely cover the leaves. And then I have it back on my scale. I don't re-tear the scale. And the only time I do this in my way of making tea is just to understand the volume that I'm working with the first time. Once I have that information memorized, then I no longer weigh the water every time. But
it added 20 grams, the water.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
And then I fill it to about 70% full or 80% full.
Okay.
And then my scale has a timer on it, which is really helpful.
Oh.
And so it's going to count up. And I generally do about 15 seconds for that first steep.
Okay.
And that's from the moment that the water touches the tea. So I'm done now. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to pour into my decanter.
Ooh, this is fun. Ouch! I burned myself.
Oh no. So the key to not burning yourself with the gaiwan is to hold the edges and to never fill it past like 75%.
Oh, okay. Maybe I filled it too high.
Yeah, and then you just pour like that. And then you're always pouring between the fingers that you're pinching it with. So you don't pour.
I think I had too much in and it spilled over my thumb a little.
How much water was in it? How much water fit, out of curiosity?
Probably 90%.
What did that weigh?
What's that?
What did that weigh?
Oh, I didn't look.
Okay. So that's next time.
Sorry.
No, next steep. It's all good. It's all good.
Next week.
So then I take
wow.
the lid off, and then I smell it. Smell the lid. And I smell that caramel. There's like a really
Wow.
nice toasted sugar, you know?
It weighs 22.7 right now without anything in it.
Okay. And hello to the Okanagan. We have a visitor watching from the Okanagan.
Woo!
So when I'm done that first brew, I take that smell, I pour a little bit off into a little cup. I love to decant
smell?
even when I'm drinking a solo, and then I pour into a tiny cup, like one of these size,
Oh.
right?
I
And
have
then
a tiny sake cup.
sake cups work great. Yeah.
I grab it. Sake cup. Oh, I've used it for my vitamins. Here it is.
So
There it is.
I made the same tea at home, and I was kind of blown away by it. It was so fruity. Yet right now, what I'm drinking tastes a little bit flat to me. What that tells me is that we've been kind of wrestling a bit with the water alligator here at JagaSilk, where it might be time to replace our filters. And I think I'm tasting that in this tea right now, because I know it tastes amazing at home, the same tea. But it could also just be a different area of the batch. I was explaining to the viewers before you came on, but we're drinking a Koucha Zairaishu. And Zairaishu means heirloom cultivar. And this is from Mandokoro. And we actually went and handpicked tea there. Not this particular one, but in the past I've sent you tea that we handpicked. It was
I know, that's why I was like, oh, I wonder if you handpicked this one. I'm like, wait a minute.
yeah, pandemic, yeah. But it's a new year of the tea that we were involved with. And then we bought it on spec. I hadn't tasted it. But when it did come in and I tasted it, I was really impressed. It was really, really
Cool.
good. Yeah, I think that it can taste better than what I'm tasting right now.
I
So,
oversteeped mine, I think. It was a little bit too strong for me.
you know, I might have also had you put too big of a dose in it. You might be happier at 4 grams.
Oh, okay.
That's why I wanted to know how much water fits in your gaiwan, which you can tell me this time, right? So this for this
57 grams total. So 52 grams of water.
really, that's
Yeah.
on top of what was absorbed, right, into the leaves.
Oh no, 25 grams of water.
No, that's impossible. It must be more than that. The
No,
second, are you sure?
I had 22 grams of water of tea plus 22 grams was the tea with
Okay.
water in it, and
I
then
was-
now it's at 57.
Okay, now it's a 57. So yeah, I guess I want to know the total volume of water, including what's absorbed into the leaves.
Oh, 45.
Okay, so the amount of tea that you're using to make that enjoyable, then you need to do about 3-second extractions.
Okay, that makes sense. I just did like a 10-second while we were talking, like a
Yeah.
20-second.
So you might want to post dilute it a bit, like maybe even double the volume, and then you'll like it a lot better.
Oh, okay, let me see how it is like this. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, really
I
strong.
think I just have too much tea in there.
Yeah.
Can I take some of the tea out?
I would just do faster infusions, like literally,
Okay.
like be basically drinking rinses.
Let me try that. I'm gonna just
Now
do
it's
this.
smelling really good. Okay, that's starting to bring out a little bit of the florality that I enjoyed
One.
when I was drinking alcohol.
2, 3. Woo!
Yeah, it's tasting a little bit better. So, yeah, interesting. I think I was just drinking.
Yeah.
Mine was kind of woody and strong, so it was both under extracted but overdosed. So it was.
Same.
It was
Mine
weird.
too. Mine still is.
This is tasting better now. So,
Yeah.
I think I just overdosed you. You know what you should do? Why don't you put the tea leaves that are in there on a plate and brew them later in a different vessel?
Okay.
And why don't you start again, and instead of doing 5 grams, why don't you drop it down to 4? And then
Can I
do
do
the.
3 then? Okay. Should I try it with 3?
You can, but if it's And I mean, obviously your water is gonna, but that's a pretty huge jump. I would go from 5 to 4, and it's gonna be incredibly
Okay.
noticeable. And then if it's
Oh,
still too strong, for sure. But I think
okay.
it's also about keeping these extraction times on, like being. One of the things about making gongfucha is there's, like when you're steeping tea, even sencha, there's these moments where you can kind of walk away or get distracted, etc. Gongfucha demands your attention. You really need
Yeah.
to, you need to be watching it very closely.
Oh, I wonder if you could make leather out of tea. It always looks like leather when it's
Maybe.
like just on the plate. Like it looks like little leather. It feels really cool, like leather strings or something.
It looks really good and it smells really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something very magical about this tea to me. There's just, I feel like it's from, you just don't see tea that's made this way anymore, or even like very artisan stuff. I think part of it is that these guys, again, I was explaining, it takes them a week, Sherri Anne, to hand pick and produce 18 kilos. And to put that in
Oh,
perspective, you know, a place like, we buy from Takaki-san, he's pretty careful, but everything he does is mechanized. He
wow.
harvests and produces, say, like 60 kilos of finished product in an afternoon,
Oh my god.
right? And
Wow.
that's not even the care that goes into it before you harvest. That's just the harvest and processing.
Yeah.
So we're really lucky that we get a few kilos of this stuff a year. Like there's so little available, you know. And it's from a really famous. This region, Mandokoro, is so famous that it's actually quietly famous, I should say. A lot of Japanese people, if you said to them, "Hey, do you like Mandokoro tea?" They'd be like, "Excuse me." But if you asked like an older generation if they've heard of Mandokoro in like an old tea song that you sing in like
Oh.
preschool or in elementary school, etc., they're gonna oh yeah, Mandokoro, yeah, yeah, okay, it's in the song. And so, but you don't really see it in the country now because in the 80s 90s a lot of people converted their tea production to lumber production, and so you saw a lot of tea fields get ripped out, these old heirloom
Oh.
cultivars, and a lot of them started growing trees for wood,
Oh
and
wow.
you saw this big transition because there wasn't enough money in tea. And so they were just like, okay, we're going to use our land to grow something a little bit more hands off, some trees, and then we harvest them, we get really good dollar for it. But it's really sad because you saw, and there's a lot of empty factories that are just, there used to be like a whole, like in the 50s and 60s, there was like or way before that really, um, you saw entire villages just like during harvest season, they're like hand rolling their senchas, and like everybody's house had their own production, but it takes like 5 hours for 4 people to make 800 grams of sencha
Wow.
when you hand roll. So it was very labor intensive, and the prices really haven't changed since then. So the tea was extremely expensive then, and it's actually still expensive now, but like it was really expensive then because
Wow.
the cost of everything else has gone up. But a lot of tea farmers just can't afford to do it anymore, and these folks are no exception. They do this almost as a hobby just to keep it alive. And the youngest people in the village are in their 70s.
Wow. Dang.
Yeah. Oh, this is tasting better. What did you think? 4 grams. Is that a
I
winner?
love it.
Yeah, way
Yeah.
better. Right now you get that
Mm.
florality. Yeah, yeah. I overbrewed too, so I think if
You
I was
lost
gonna,
all its sweetness in the other way.
yeah, yeah.
That's great.
So you can just keep brewing this. Like it's such a nice tea to just like you can set up your tea tray, and you can have like even if you boil some water and you preheat a thermos, and then you just get a thermos going. You can just be
Yeah.
essentially rinsing the leaves and then pour, and then
Cool.
you keep going. Oh, it's all good.
Sorry.
And then,
I
but
hit my table.
you can get sometimes some teas are like 13, 15, 20 steeps. You just keep going. And you can add 10, 15, and it's very intuitive. So if you like it a little weaker, you steep a little shorter. If you like it a little stronger, you steep a little longer. And if you like it a little weaker, you use a little less leaves. You like it a little stronger, you use a little bit more leaves. But I just wanted to give you sort of like a starting point. So for that
Yeah.
70 to 90 grams of tea, sorry, of water, I would use 4 grams of tea.
Okay.
And then if I was in a larger gaiwan, like you know something
I use like 40 grams of water.
something massive like that, see that? Those are two. So the one I'm brewing in is 70 grams of water, 75 grams of water. This massive one here is 120 grams of water. So that's like a full 4 ounces of liquid. In this one, I would use 5 grams. And that's actually what I thought I sent you, but now that I think about it, I sent you something closer to what I was using. So I just gave you the wrong instructions.
It's really good this way. It's like a totally different tea.
Isn't that interesting?
It's like how I remember it.
Yeah. So you can also take the same tea and you can follow the instructions on the package, which is 3 grams for 180 mils for 4 minutes, boiling water. Less tea, longer extraction. You're going to get a completely different experience out of it, and it's going to be really good still. But I love experimenting with, especially the reserve crimson teas, where ignoring what's written on the package and then going into this Koucha style, which is just these flash infusions, lots of leaves, little bits of water, and then just constantly drinking it over and over again. So I'm gonna brew another one here. And normally I wouldn't brew it on the scale. I would, once I know how much fits and I've dosed accordingly, then I know. Yeah, this is one of the few brewing methods where I kind of hold off on using the scale for the water. But I love to smell the lid in between. And then when I put the lid back on, even when it's brewing, I kind of cheat a little bit in that I already position it so that it's easy for me to use the lid to hold the leaves back. So I put it kind of on an angle when I put it there. And then I stop looking at timers after a while once I get used to it. So this, I have a timer going, but I can just be like, you know what, it's feeling good. And then you can turn tea making into something fairly intuitive. And I would say this is definitely the more normal way to drink Chinese teas. The way that we do it, where we weigh the dose and weigh like a lot of people aren't even weighing the dose at all. And you can get away with that, but I find I have a much more consistently enjoyable tea experience when at least I'm weighing the dose. And then I base that dose off of a rough understanding of how much liquid I'm going to be brewing with. And I think why people can turn it into an intuitive process is they're often using exactly the same teapots or tea brewing ware over and over again. So they can eyeball the tea and say they're working with a similar region or a similar producer year after year after year. They can get really good at just eyeballing it. And if you're like me and you're following these people that have decades of experience with a scale and you're trying to weigh to understand, what they're doing, it's amazing how consistent they can be. Like I know some baristas who it's more common to eyeball your milk into a steaming pitcher, whereas we weigh it because we're weird, right? But if you have a scale and you weigh somebody eyeballing their milk who has a lot of experience, they're often within like 2 grams every single time, and they're eyeballing it. It's kind of amazing.
Wow.
But when you don't have that kind of experience, when you're not multi-decades into that profession, that way of being, it really helps to have some sort of, it's like having a recipe, like you make pasta all the time, fine, but like if you never made it before, giving yourself like a recipe just so you have like a flag post in the sand makes a big difference. So
it does help. I definitely feel like I'm pretty good at making matcha now by eye.
I believe it.
Every once in a while I recalibrate and weigh it again, and then I'm like, okay, I was definitely using too little or too much, and then I kind of have my base level and then.
Yeah, I agree.
Pretty good.
I personally, with matcha, it's just so little, and the grind and the cultivar changes so often that I'm just like, okay. I think if I was working with the same matcha all the time, and it was really consistent, I could probably get comfortable with just eyeballing my doses, but constantly changing the matcha that I work with, and I'm constantly changing the bowl that I work with, and I'm constantly changing everything. So for me, it becomes really challenging. But I think that it'd be great if I could get there. And I have seen some teachers who are just, they got it going on. They just, again, I can weigh it out, and they're just eyeballing the matcha, and it's just like every time it's like within like 0.01 gram or something crazy like that. I think I had one person who I was weighing. But anyway.
Wow. I'm definitely not there yet, but hey.
But I did promise you a short show. I wanted to show you just some technique here for brewing with the gaiwan. I really encourage you to try this with the juicy peach that we had last week with Jen, And then in next week we're gonna be pausing the show for a week, and then the week after that we'll be back. And that week after we're gonna be joined by a good friend of ours, Ryday Harding. She runs she used to run Small Ritual Coffee Society. And now she's changed the charity name to Small Ritual Society, and essentially what she's doing is she's really working actively with building spaces for people to heal when they're having mental health issues, and
cool.
she's really involved on a community level. She used to do this cafe in White Rock where she would hire people that were borderline unemployable, and she would, they would work together, and they would get to a place where they were feeling really good, and she was feeling really good, and they could go on and work in cafes, etc. And she did these very rigorous training programs. She's a really fun person, but she's got a great palate. And she was in roasting some sencha with us when she was visiting from where she lives now, which is in, I think, Prince Edward Island or Nova Scotia, but on the east coast of Canada. So yeah, we'll hear a little bit more from her, so that should be an exciting show. But
wow.
Yeah.
I think I brewed the Juicy Peach in the car in the brown one last time.
That's what I'm saying. So if you take the Juicy Peach from last week with Jen and you brew it this way, I think you're going to find it tastes really different.
Oh, right, with the hot water and everything in the 3 seconds.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. And then in a couple weeks, I think what we'll do is we'll probably drink that floral lapsang suchang, or we might even be doing a sencha, because she did roast it, so she probably wants to drink it together. That might be fun to just do a sencha yabukita, and I'll see if I can't get you some fresh stuff so we can taste some of the same batch. All right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm down with the sencha you have too. I'm down with whatever you want to do. And
awesome.
the kombucha is still waiting in the fridge, right?
I know. We gotta make it happen. We're gonna let that age just a little bit longer, but I'm kind of. It's gonna be 1 week after, I think, our visit with Ryday. But
it's so good. The one that we did have.
But did you have any final comments on the Koucha Zairaishu? If you have any questions about the methodology here that we've been doing?
Oh, it's great. I love how the sweetness really came out when we changed the dosing. What region is it from again?
It's from Mandokoro, which is in Shiga, Japan. And we actually had a question from our viewer. Is the 15 seconds for the rinse on or after the rinse? And I was just going to say that the rinse itself should be about 3-5 seconds, maybe max.
Okay.
You just drop some, and then you just empty it into your tea stage here. If you then when you brew your first drinkable steep, that's when you're going to count about 15 seconds, and that's from the moment the boiling water touches the tea. So yeah, to answer that question. Sorry, you were saying.
Oh, that's cool. No, that's it. You answered them both.
Okay, amazing. All right, so we will we'll catch up in a couple weeks. But for now, where can people find your work?
SisterSpeakMusic.com or Patreon.com/SisterSpeak. Every second and fourth Thursday we have a live stream.
Is that
lots of tour dates coming up? What's that?
Your next live stream is next week, or was it today?
Next Thursday, yes,
right.
at 12 PST and or PDT, and I'm gonna send out a secret concert today as well, so you'll be seeing that.
Very cool. Okay, exciting. So lots of really interesting stuff happening with Sister Speak. You also have that amazing new album, Love for All, that people should check out. It's sounding pretty lovely. So yeah, I think. Do you have a favorite song right now? Is there one that people should, if they go onto their Spotify and they check it out, is there one that's really resonating with you today?
Today, I would say check out Dance to the Rhythm.
Dance to the Rhythm. Okay, so people watching, you want to go and put on Dance to the Rhythm, Sister Speak Music, and have yourself a fantastic day. Thank you for coming on today, Sherri Anne.
Thanks so much for everything, and this is so cool.
Likewise, and thank you for all your help in making the Truth and Dolphin stuff come together too, and your help in organizing the musical tea series, which, by the way, June 25th, we'll be streaming Douglas Hensley doing that early music Persian music. It's be on. I think he's playing the lute, something like an ancient stringed instrument. I'm pretty stoked. So. Yeah.
Oh, I got a Yeti mic. For the live stream.
Sweet. That's what that's what we use here. So.
I know. Start doing that. I want to be there. So you're gonna be live streaming it. I can't wait to listen because the David Santana one turned out so good.
Yeah, and we went back and we edited the show after the fact. So if people want to go back and check out David Santana Trio, all of the dead space is gone. So it's all music. You can play it and hang out and just do some work, and it's amazing. And I'm really looking forward to more shows being that way, where we can kind of post edit so that they're just something you can throw on, and we'll make a playlist of JagaSilk music streams, so that the more and more music out there, the better. So cool. All right, thank you so much. Have an awesome rest of your day, Sherri Anne.
Thank you. You too. Have a wonderful day.
Okay, bye.
Peace and love.
Peace and love. All right, so that was Sherri Anne joining us from Sister Speak Music, in over on the East Coast there. In Vermont, I think she is right now, and then she's going to be touring, and she'll have to go on sisterspeakmusic.com and check out where she's going to be at. If you want to drink some Koucha Zairaishu, I know I promised last week I'd have Juicy Peach up. I did. It's ready. I just took some photos, and they sucked, so I got to retake my photos so that I can upload them, and then you can buy Juicy Peach. Koucha Zairaishu, though, we got some good photos, and I think you should see that up by... Koucha Zairaishu 2021 is not up there right now, right? No? Okay, so you'll see it next Thursday. We're going to get Koucha Zairaishu up onto the webpage so you can buy some and drink it at home. Go back, check out old episodes. Look, JagaVision and episode 100 or episode 94 or episode 2. And then there's going to be all these great conversations I really encourage you to check out. If you want to buy some tea, go to jagasilk.com. And if you just want to watch these shows when they go live, make sure if you're subscribed, if you're not subscribed, subscribe. If you're subscribed, click the bell button, and it will give you a notification when we go live, which we do every Thursday at 2 p.m. Next week, we're not doing the show, but the following week, you'll see us joined by Ryday Harding over there at Small Ritual Coffee Society, or I should probably get the current name of her charity that she's doing. But we're really, I think we should be drinking a sencha, one of the senchas that we finished fired together. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Have a fantastic rest of your day. I'm Jared Nyberg. Peace.